not recording it.
Oh, well,
I gotta push the button.
Mm-hmm.
I have to push the button. 314? 314? 314.
Is there an area code somewhere near us that has that? 314? Or no, 310 is an area code.
Oh. We missed that reference. Hello, JJ.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. Oh, wait, no, do you say I am well? Is that how this is supposed to work?
I am well is the proper... We're teaching the kids. No, we're not.
So then,
no, we're not. This is
so I am good.
Yar, I be good. Nah, are we teaching the kids? Yeah, we maybe sometimes. I don't know if they listen with their parents, right? Because this is the Fogey podcast, right? Maybe sometimes it feels like it. Michael, is this the Fogey podcast?
If you listen closely, you can hear our rocking chairs creaking.
If you listen closely, you can hear my back in extreme pain and cracking every time I move.
Ouch, what'd you do?
I don't know. Honestly, I had to go buy a heat pad. It's the hip bone's connected to the backbone, you know, that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Lumbar.
Everything's connected, and it's all not gravy. But we're not here to complain. We're here to be happy. Today, I give you the news, gentlemen.
The news?
The news that though they have yet to get rid of the show more options in Windows 11, they have deigned to move the properties item to the first context menu.
Well, that saves one step in some instances.
It saves one step for my daily work for this podcast.
Well, I like it then. That's
wherein I click the properties button at least once a week. So that's much nicer. Thanks, Microsoft. I think, gentlemen, though we are not in charge of Microsoft, we are in charge of something here that has waxed. It has waxed too long. It is time to convene the Rules Committee.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Rules Committee is now in session.
We proposed months ago some food rules. We've had time to stew. I've been waiting for a while to do that joke. It's a bad one.
But I kept waiting.
Okay. You had all that time to reconsider, then you went with it anyway. That shows commitment and dedication.
No food for the gram proposed by Michael was rule number 1 for the Book of Food Rules. Michael, would you like to recap what that means? Does that mean you're not allowed to take photos of your food? What does it mean, no food for the gram?
No, absolutely not. No food for the gram should be qualified as no food, maybe no food for the clicks. In that, if you're gonna post a recipe for someone to follow, that's fine. If you want to throw up like what you had for lunch onto the screen to make it look pretty,
hold on, don't throw up.
However, you do it. Look, however, okay, sure, you want to throw it up on your screen, you do you.
I heard it. It was too late.
It was already on its way out, huh?
Yeah, can't hold it back.
Couldn't hold that one back.
But don't create food posts that are simply to gain likes.
Your
and
biggest
follows.
example was the tabletop nachos that no one would eat from in the real world.
Yeah, you are just doing this for people to watch the video and have a reaction.
Mm-hmm. That is apparently often the case with many things, doing it for the clicks. Apparently, I found out before I was laid up and could not return to the gym that it is impossible to get protein powder currently, except for like big bags of it at Costco, because shooting it dry is a TikTok thing.
Bro, all you have to know is that if anything is a TikTok thing, we're too old for it and you shouldn't involve yourself.
Even if you're not too old for it, you probably shouldn't involve yourself.
In this instance, that's certainly true. But I feel like at this point, this the members of this podcast are probably too old to involve ourselves in TikTok really at all. That's for the youth.
I think you're unfortunately correct. I would say among the many reasons not to participate in the internet, losing yourself down the hole of TikTok, and maybe if you're of the youth and you find value in TikTok, email us. If you know how to email us and tell us what the value of TikTok is, because it just seems like a black hole of time, and I can understand the desire to lose time in a black hole. I mean, Instagram for the aged among us was similar, and they added reels because of TikTok, right? But it feels like maybe black holing your time at this era of beginning is not valuable. I could be playing Eiyuden during that time, is what I remember every time I start to go down that like click hole on the internet in general,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like, ooh, wait, hold on. You've been on this for 10 minutes. You probably really shouldn't be doing that. I mean, it even goes down to like watching, and I don't know. Podcasts are cool because you can do other stuff. But like after I finish watching the weekly Gamers Nexus video and maybe one video after that, like the suggested train on YouTube even is a problem. Make sure there's value, right? A little bit. And
I would say, in fact, almost never is clicking on a recommended YouTube video a good idea. You went to the video that you're watching supposedly for some reason.
Yeah.
You probably have no reason to watch any of the related videos.
Yeah. So in that vein, doing things for the clicks is also probably a waste of your time in general. All right. Public voting, or do we vote like in secret? How does the Supreme Court do it?
I mean, I think they know who voted for what.
Okay. Well, I vote in favor.
I mean, I also vote in favor.
I proposed it, so yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can find out
we're all
your
agreed.
good idea was a bad idea later on, right? Okay. Well, rule number 1 is in the book, and it was not that controversial. So we have to move on to rule number 2. Don't imposter. I proposed this rule, and it didn't go well. I think the original idea behind it was calling a sushi burrito is not a burrito. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think having thought about it, just because I dislike it doesn't mean that it's a correct rule.
I'm glad you came to that conclusion, because I was going to have to say something along those lines if you didn't.
I think your rule might have lost this vote, Andy, if it had come to that.
So I would like to table that rule in its entirety for the time being.
We're going to refer it to the select subcommittee for reconsideration at a future date to be determined.
Okay, there you have it.
TM.
There is only one food rule in the books, and that is no food for the clicks. We have changed it, Michael, to the clicks. Yeah. No more gram, because that was confusing. No food for the clicks. And that one is the inaugural bill of food rights. Number 1. Pretty valuable, I think. So if
we
you
reserve the right to reorder these rights in the future.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know.
One of them.
It came first, so it kind of matters. Because if subsequent rules end up in conflict, we have to reconvene in entirety. So speaking of subsequent rules, podcasts at wewergamers.com. If you have food related, not always negatives. This one starts with the word no.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be positives, Maybe for our next round of food rules, we think of positives. there you have it.
Okay.
Positives. Tell me, Michael. Do you have a positive review of Top Gun, the film? No spoiler review.
I do.
that.
It is thoroughly enjoyable. I, from the standpoint of the action, I think I agree with people that it is better than the original.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to go out on a limb and say that the new one is better on the whole than the original. I think in part because so much of what makes the second movie work is the nostalgia that you have remembering and, for a lot of people having rewatched multiple times the original.
I mean, I personally support that thesis because my top Star Wars movie was New Hope. Even though I like Rogue One better, it's built on New Hope. So how do you get better than the one that it's built on? You know,
there are parts that I think it does better, and it's a great movie on the whole. But I think one of the things that it does best is that it doesn't just lean heavily on the nostalgia to carry the movie. Like, it's a good movie in its own right.
A vitally important thing.
Yeah, good point, JJ. Good point. Cool. I assume the action is more nonstop than before.
Yes. It's been 30 years, 36 years. And the action is commensurately better.
What
How is he still in the military? That's what I want to know.
That seems
that
to
does
be a
get
big
explained.
Thing. Yeah.
That does get explained.
Is Val Kilmer in it? I gotta know. I guess that's a spoiler, but I want to know.
I'll give people a minute to turn it off. But yes, Val Kilmer is in it.
Iceman. All right. If people are back, no, cool. Anything else that you wanted to throw out there on the Top Gun front?
Go see it. Let us know what you think.
IMAX, theater, home, HBO. What are we talking about?
Ooh, I would. It's one I would go see on a big screen.
Apparently, Hideo Kojima has seen the movie 3 times and cried during 2 of them, according to the internet.
I can understand that. I mean, the nostalgia is real.
Hideo Kojima.
He tweeted it. I'm saying it's not like, he didn't have to tweet that he was going to see it a third time and was ready to cry again. He didn't have to say that.
I respect the man immensely. He is clearly talented at making video games, and I find his desire to be the next Hollywood thing cute in a non-judgmental way. And anytime someone says something like exactly what you said just there, I just can't help but crack up and just be like, Hideo Kojima, okay.
The man who makes like more video game and movie and those sorts of references than any other video game person that I know, like, of course he would go see Top Gun 4 times or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it has the same vibe as like half of those Metal Gear games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have to let this out of the bag. I found Sonic 2 to be better than Sonic 1. Just gonna leave that there. Yes, I watched it.
The movie is better,
Yes.
you say?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I watched them both now. I don't know why. I just was curious. I made it through both easily. Yo, if you have kids that are of an appropriate age to see that film, they will enjoy it quite a bit. There's dancing and floss.
Who it's made for.
Yeah, it is who it's made for, and you got to go into it with that in mind. You know, there's dancing and flossing and whatever references.
You excited for the Mario movie to fall under these same kind of territory?
Isn't that Mario movie going to be written by the Lego people? Am I crazy?
I have no idea.
Is it?
No clue. I think it's being animated by them, but I don't know if they're writing it. I don't know. Honestly, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. I have no idea. Talking out
Jack Black and Seth Rogen are in it, playing Donkey Kong and Bowser. How do you not have slight interest in figuring out what's going on there? I'm pretty sure Keegan and who's the other one? One other comedy. Was it? I'm gonna have to look it up.
Keegan-Michael Key is playing Toad.
He's playing Toad. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? Charlie Day. Charlie Day's in it, but I don't remember who he's. Luigi. He's gonna play Luigi. Yeah. Whatever. I'll watch it. I'm stupid.
Okay.
What do you want me to say?
Nope.
I don't.
That's it.
I mean, it can't be worse than watching through all the DCU movies.
Yes. Good point, Michael.
It's gotta be better.
It's gotta be better than that.
Let's put it in a frame of reference here.
I will not watch trailers and I will not read reviews, and I will watch it when it hits HBO, and I will probably have an opinion similar to Sonic, which was like, I just gotta say though, Jim Carrey really leaves it all out there, and that is one reason to watch. If you're like a Jim Carrey person, it's probably worth it.
Jim Carrey wanted that paycheck and let everyone know.
Oh, dude. At a certain point,
every penny of it.
No, at a certain point, you're like, you're overdoing it in the pay department. Like, there's no reason he had to go this hard, but I'll take it. There's a lot of stuff that I enjoy. Anyway, that's enough about Sonic. Really, that's enough. Just we're good. Quick hits since we're in the cinema land. Let's just throw a giant spoiler warning up here for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here you go. That's it. There's your spoiler warning. What do you guys you gonna make it to the end? What's up?
I love a good jailbreak episode.
Yeah.
So, JJ.
Yes, hello.
You've played Jedi Fallen Order.
Uh-huh.
That is the same place.
Yeah, I noted some things that I recalled somewhat from that place.
Essentially the same path that they take to get out of there.
I didn't remember it being all the way underwater, but
that's how they escape at the end of that scene.
Was it?
Yeah, he breaks the glass.
Okay. I forgot.
Yeah. I thought it was very funny that it ended kind of similarly in both of their experiences. And yet at the beginning of that, they're like, no one knows what the inside of this place looks like. And I'm like, Cal Kestis does. Go find him.
We know.
He could be dead. You don't know, right?
Maybe. It depends on where in the timeline Jedi Survivor comes here, which is very confusing considering it seems like, okay, we said it, spoilers, the Grand Inquisitor's dead, but he's definitely in that trailer for that game. So
it could be that the Grand Inquisitor's dead.
TM?
Right.
Dead Darth Maul style?
Right. I mean, Darth Maul got cut in half. I felt like that was enough to prove that he was dead. But apparently, you learn all sorts of things happen in Star Wars. And, who knows? And that guy he only got stabbed. I feel like that's totally solvable problem.
So after last week's, let's say, disappointing fandom, I went through and did a lot of internet blocking of things, so I have no idea what the internet thinks of this show anymore. I kind of don't care. I just want to know what you guys in general are feeling like after that little escapade. I think I'm with you, JJ. I like a little good escape. Escape.
Yeah. I think the I think the disappointment that people are having with this show is they were expecting like OMG cool epic Star Wars stuff, but like this is like a small character story, and that is not exciting to some people, I assume. But I think I'm enjoying it just fine. The cool rescue scene and them escaping in the snow speeders, which I thought were only for snow apparently, but now aren't. That was cool.
I like that snow speeder was like inches from Reva, and she was just never like able to reflect a shot at it. It was funny.
Yeah,
it was cool to see the snow speeders.
Yeah, I totally loved it. I was like, I didn't know you could fit 3 people in one of those.
I laughed out loud at it was modified from the snow speeder that we've seen before, because the way it opened was just the back, so it was clearly, it was clearly like modified.
The passenger version. This is the sedan version.
Yeah, it's got the backward facing seats, you know, like a 7-seater, like a old station wagon.
Yeah, it's a station wagon.
It was cool to see. It's always cool to see repurposed stuff, right? And I had a good laugh. I don't know that character's name, but when he's just like, "You got to get out of here. I don't want anything to do with you." It was definitely the meme of like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in," where he just turns it around instantly. Where you're like, "Yep, and you want my help? All right, fine, you got it." I was like, "Wait, what? Hold on, go back."
Yeah, the guy agreeing to be like, "I know exactly what they're capable of, and that's why we're gonna do it." And it's like, okay, nice. Not how I expected this conversation to go.
He was still angry when he said it. I was like, you know, it was so good. That was funny. I saw a post online that something that we had talked about before, that I was jokingly like, and I think we all joked a little bit about it, was like, oh, Leia doesn't remember being rescued and all that sort of stuff, and it's kind of weird that she sends Ben the message that she sends him if she was rescued. I don't think it really would matter at all for the story that this happened and she still named her son Ben, because Luke would have told the story of Obi-Wan multiple times and called him Ben, since he knew him as Ben. So that honorific would still have that amount of weight, but it was a little like photo meme of like her sitting next to him in that transport and then her naming her son Ben, you know, was like, oh yeah, good point. It's more connected than it was before, I guess.
The thing to me about the message that she sends in New Hope is she wouldn't have said, oh, well, you know, you served my father in the Clone Wars, I need you to help me. She would have like said, hey, remember that time you saved me before? I could really use your help again. Yeah. Like that would have been a much more, you know, had this all been designed in this order, which obviously it wasn't. So, you know, who cares?
Well, don't worry. In 15 years, when they re-release those movies in 8K, they're going to edit that in. They'll dub it in. Yeah. It'll be the new version. They'll take all the Lucas additions out, but they'll add that in.
So Han will shoot first again, but
Leia will now tell Ben.
Ruin it in other ways.
Yeah.
Unless at the end of the series here he messes with her memories.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, Jedi abilities, right?
You bring up a great point. I mean, it's definitely possible. I still am in the phase of like, what?
Hold on. Does she ever see Obi-Wan on the Death Star? No, right?
No, she never sees him on the Death Star.
And so, like, what if it's like, oh, the next time, you know, these memories will come back when you see me again, and then she never sees him again.
Does she see him fighting Vader in the distance? Because she tries to get Luke to get onto the Falcon, so maybe she might.
Yeah, but I think he's at the back of the line in that scene. I think they're all in front of him, and he turns and sees Ben.
Well, she knows he was on the Death Star because afterwards she comforts Luke in the Falcon.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe she does get her memory messed with. That would be a very interesting twist.
I mean, it would make sense in the safer for her and him.
And we know there are Jedis who can do things with memories, right? The The third sister was doing that, right?
Yeah, she can pull memories out of people's head.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love that I have made a deeper connection watching this show with something that I like, which is I'm a big fan of Luke's Return of the Jedi lightsaber. I have the Disney prop one, the metal one from Disneyland, you know, the green one. The look of it was so different than everything else in Star Wars, and unlike the original saber, which is just a cylinder. And, you know, it was Anakin's and all that. It was Luke's, and that was cool to me. I never noticed before because it probably wasn't that apparent. It was probably apparent to like a lot of people, but it wasn't apparent to me that Obi-Wan's, now that we've seen his lightsaber like 10 times, his lightsaber is almost identical to Luke's later lightsaber.
They look very close.
They are very similar. And so if you think about Luke in the later stage of his life as that teacher that becomes a Jedi, you know, he takes Yoda's blade color and Obi-Wan's saber design and blends them together. I think that's a very cool thing that 10,000 people on the internet have already realized, but I realized it for myself.
I want to say that the only thing that is unfortunate for you is that you never see Yoda with a lightsaber in the original 3 movies. So that's not a thing that could have developed that way. However, because it was green, it does make a great connection and symbolism that way. And who knows, it's possible George Lucas was one of those people who had like billion hours of backstory for tons of things, and that's totally possible, a thing he could have known.
Yeah, I understand your point. I think it's still cool if even if it wasn't intended symbolism, it's there now, right?
Oh yeah,
and even if
I think it's good now. Yeah,
it could be reverse symbolism too. Like, oh, we made Luke's green. The intention was for it to look like Obi-Wan's but be different. Maybe we should make Yoda his other you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like I said, it fits now, and
it's cool.
It is perfect.
I know that I'm not the first person to think this, but I did come to it on my own, which was very satisfying as a fan of that saber design. Okay, that's enough Obi-Wan for now. I think it's time to move on to making my own weapon of choice. You guys, I did it. I'm a madman. I don't know why I did it. It ended up being kind of strange. I alluded to this a few weeks ago. I took apart a PlayStation 5 controller.
Why?
Well, up until a few weeks ago, it was really hard to get the scuff version. And I kind of wanted to try. There's a different type of actuated button on the scuff controllers that a lot of people like for first-person shooters, and it's called like a clicky buttons. You know, they feel like mouse actuations when you use them. There's basically like 0.5 millimeter of travel before the button's activated. So obviously it disables the cool triggers I talked about last episode. But I was kind of interested in trying that out. And then it also, I'm trying to find an image. It also came with the back buttons that I really, 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 really have come to love on the Xbox Pro controller. So this is kind of what the bottom looks like now with the additional buttons and stuff attached. And so what you do is you buy this kit from an aftermarket company. I won't give them the name since I don't know how good it is yet. And you take apart your controller, and there are, let's say, destructive and non-destructive ways to modify the controller to accept these buttons and these additional buttons, like accept the new trigger buttons and accept this thing on the bottom that adds on the mappable back buttons. I chose the non-destructive way in case I don't actually like the clicky triggers.
Smart.
because it's like cutting wires, soldering stuff, all sorts of weird things. I will say my only review so far is that a SCUF controller would still feel more like a heavier Xbox Elite controller than this thing, which feels like it's got a rubberized grip and some extra buttons on it, but it still feels a little bit like a PlayStation controller. The inside of your controller is a weird place, you guys. I understand why they've gotten so expensive.
A lot going on.
I multiple times started to see the next step and thought, ooh, I could break this entire thing if I did. I mean, I was pulling ribbon cables out, attaching new ribbon cables. It was a lot. There was a lot going on in there. And, there's like 4 or 5 wires that are soldered onto boards. And you're like, okay, I have to pull this board off of that board without snapping these wires off the solder. And then tilt it a different direction while the thumbsticks are still attached. It was like modding a controller is weird.
You sound like you're like less than a step away from soldering, at which point I'm going to say no.
There were 2 steps where they gave you the option to solder stuff. If you wanted to get certain buttons mappable, you have to solder onto the board more wires. I still have those wires. I thought, I'm not going to solder this because that's somewhat destructive. And then there were other things in there that you cut some motor actuator wires as well. And I was like, if I want to go back to the old version, this would then be a problem. I'd have to strip them and resolder them. This seems like a bad plan as well. So it's a test run to see if this thing's any good. If I'm really, really in love with these types of triggers, I may even still disassemble this and buy the SCUF one. I don't know. It's an experiment. It's interesting to try out these buttons and stuff, and seemed like the cheapest way to do it. So I don't know. I'll report back. But modding a controller was... I have taken apart multiple SNES and NES controllers to clean them. And it's a whole different world inside of these things.
Those NES controllers are like 40 years old.
I know, JJ, I know, but like, I couldn't imagine how much.
I just need to make you feel old.
I couldn't imagine how much stuff they had packed into there. It was a lot, especially with the adaptive triggers. There's a whole mechanism of like gears and motors and all that just for the triggers.
Well, yeah, I mean, how do you think that stuff just works when it doesn't just work,
I know. It's crazy. Okay. That's that. I have not used it playing Eiyuden, but I have played more Eiyuden. I have questions.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yes.
Why do I have to walk around to every single shop instead of having a central place I could access all the shops?
I think the game would be like 5 hours shorter if you didn't. That's probably the answer to that.
That would be pretty nice.
You'll actually start to find, I found this and started doing it, is that depending on which shop you want to go to, it's sometimes easier to warp to a different part of the city and then warp back to the section that you want to visit.
Oh, you want to go to that weapons shop? Actually go to 2nd Street and turn around.
Right, because it prioritizes where you enter based on where you are.
Smart. Okay. The stamp rewards, is that destructive or non-destructive? I.e., is it a reward for just hitting a marker? Like, he has 5 ore there for 10 stamps. Do I lose my stamps if I buy that?
No, it's like a...
No.
Yeah, it's just, you got 5, here's a free thing.
Okay.
Next time you will get 5 more, and then you have 10.
My stow pack was full, and I picked up a potion. Does that go to storage, or did it get deleted?
Storage.
Okay. When you drink a potion, does it go to the whole party or just one person?
It goes to the whole party. That was a good thing to learn.
Yep. And it also is true for the potions that like increase your defense or your resistances or your attack or whatever.
But I think I remember them saying only one of those can be active at a time.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you rest at your house, it removes them.
Oh,
if you end, if you end the day at your house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, did this potions? This is the next question. Do the potions stack with the in buffs?
I believe they do.
Yes.
Do the
But
potions?
I'm not 100% sure if they stack. Like if you get an attack buff and then drink an attack potion, do they stack? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that I don't know.
The food that you can make at the tavern. It says plus 500 HP plus
Permanent.
plus 5 max HP.
Yeah, the answer is the stat boosts are permanent.
The 5 HP is permanent?
Yes.
So why wouldn't I just make that a lot?
You totally
'Cause
can.
You can, but it's going to be a lot of grinding.
I see.
You will
Okay.
run out of the ingredients for those very quickly.
Well, you can
And
just purchase them,
you,
right?
Yes. You know what you can also do with money? Everything else.
Yeah. So money is going to be your limiting factor through almost the entire game.
Oh, it's not very prevalent, huh?
Eventually, the weapon upgrades and the armor upgrades start costing thousands, and it's hard to get thousands.
I see. I have done every upgrade available to me. I have
always do that.
I have
Yes.
upgraded the sword and I renamed my whole. Did you guys rename your weapons?
Yeah, I did.
I renamed my holster axe as Flying Infinity because that's
Extremely cool.
That will actually become by the end game. That actually becomes accurate.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I saw that when I upgraded her armor. Now she has 2 jumps, like a double jump.
Yeah, and there are a couple more unlockables as you keep going.
Cool
for each character.
Cool, and Garou can now block, which was interesting.
Yes.
Got to be quick with that block. Can't.
Oh yeah, you don't have a
yeah.
lot of time.
The team attack thing is cool too.
The team attack thing gets extended as you get like higher levels and do more things.
Yeah.
To the point, I think, what is it at the end, Michael? Is it 4 or 5?
You get an extra level for completing each of the successive stamp cards.
Yeah, so I think
it's 5 if you don't get the last item from the trade shop.
Are there really 160 stamps in this game?
Yes.
Yep.
How?
I mean, a lot of them
More
are super
stuff keeps
quick.
happening. Yeah, like a lot of it is you've unlocked everything you think you have unlocked, but there's more,
I see.
right?
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
there are a lot of times where you'll be working on a particular quest for someone or trying to get a specific item to drop, and on the way you'll collect things that you need for another quest, and as soon as that quest comes up you just talk to the person again and it's done.
How
there
can I
were
tell?
like many instances of things. Never sell anything except for things that are listed as like only wanted by traders for currency.
Okay. How can I tell if my storehouse is getting full, or is it infinite?
I never
it's infinite.
had a issue. Yeah.
There's actually an achievement for getting one of every item in your storehouse at the same time.
Ooh.
Gonna go ahead and tell you don't bother. That's a hassle.
Michael 100% of the game. He did it.
I did, but by the end of the game, there wasn't a whole lot that I didn't already have because I followed JJ's same rule of don't sell anything that's not the artifacts.
Artifacts are the thing that I can safely sell.
They're at the bottom of your list, and they're named things like, shell and ancient currency and monster fossil or something like that.
That all goes to like the pawnbroker or whatever.
Yeah. And if you go to the pawnbroker, they usually give you like a few hundred or some more, depending on how rare the various things.
Do those
You
count
also
for the
get
one of
more.
everything?
Yes,
I'm sure that they
Yeah.
do.
Oh boy. All right.
but they're not limited. You can keep finding them in the same places.
Broken ogre horn.
Yeah, that's a crafting material. Don't get rid of that one.
Yeah. Oh, and the more you upgrade that pawnbroker, the more money you get from selling stuff.
I assume upgrade happens from just doing quests for the person.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And the quests will unlock in waves, right? You'll do a thing in the story, and then all of a sudden you'll go back to town, and you have
It's
like
just tons of
30
quests
new quests.
until you
Yeah.
do 30 quests and then you get more story.
No, I mean, you could just plow ahead with the story and not do the quests. That's allowed too. But
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Sometimes
you
I've
will
been
want to do
gated
some of
by
the
side
quests.
stuff. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
so like in order for some of them to unlock, right? It's like, okay, we need you to do these ones. We also need you to like, get, X stamps or whatever. But no, I was doing most of the side quests, and so then I didn't run into it.
Okay. I'm about to fight the load golem after this podcast. So
Oh yeah, good one.
Okay.
yeah, that the toughest fight I've had so far was that weird wolf. Just because I couldn't get the timing down.
Oh yeah, the wolves are really fast.
Yeah. There's a fight later with the wolves that I had trouble with for sure.
Yeah, I found the fishing spot, so I got to
You found a fishing spot.
Yes, correct.
I guess there's one per dungeon, maybe. I think.
Could be.
And then I need to craft or get a fishing rod, I guess, because I didn't have one when I showed up there. But I know
Yeah,
that the
so
tool guy has it.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Cool. That's my Eiyuden report.
That's a fun game. Man, I like that game.
I am surprised by knowing that it's like a lot of fetch questing and still not being like that upset by it. I think we should talk next week about another game that's similar to this. I'm going to write it down for next week. You guys might like it if you liked this game. I wrote it down. Okay. That's enough. We talked about Eiyuden a lot. So I'm just checking in to let you know where I'm at and ask questions. JJ, you also have played a game that's not Eiyuden.
That's true. Brothers, are you ready to listen to the word of the Emperor of Mankind?
I was wondering if you were going with 40K when you said brothers, and I was like, no, he can't be talking about 40K.
Are you two here to fight against the foul daemons?
Only if I'm a space marine, because their armor's better than the guard. I always played as space marines, but I respect the guard,
Andrew, do you want to use the correct terminology? And I'm glad you brought this up, actually, because when was I'm sure you haven't played 40K in a long time.
Adeptus Astartes, because they can't be called space marines anymore because it's not it's not trademarkable.
Just like the Imperial Guard can't be called that either.
So they are called the Munitorum, Administratum Munitorum.
The Astra Militarum.
Astra Militarum. Administratum Munitorum is the people that get them their bullets.
I
Sorry.
believe you.
No, I will find the link. Continue talking about whatever game this
Anyway,
is.
I wanted to say that just because I found that and I was like, come on. They were the Imperial Guard. It was a good name. Why do we have to call them this? That's dumb. So they use the trademarkable names now all the time, and they don't use the other names anymore, which sucks.
I conflated two words. There's Adeptus Administratum and there's Departamento Munitorum. I messed up. They're connected though.
I believe you. So I have been playing Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemonhunters.
Oh, so this isn't even about Adeptus Astartes. It's what's the Grey Knights new thing?
They are called the Grey Knights.
No, they have the Inquisitorus something. Okay, you keep going. I'll find that one for you too.
I mean, there is an Inquisitor in this game as part of the Ordo Malleus.
Yes.
But yeah, the Grey Knights are the faction you play as in this.
Second foundings. Cool.
The Space Marines who use the psychic abilities.
Oh, yes. Chapter 666.
Yes. This is an XCOM style tactics game.
Oh, cool. I didn't know anything about this game.
I didn't know much about it either until I heard about it on some podcasts, and I was like, this sounds like it is up my alley. And it was. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, is it where did you play it? Not that it's an ad for that service, but
the PC on Steam.
Okay.
I don't believe it's on consoles, but I could be wrong. There's no reason. I've also been playing it with mouse and keyboard. I don't know if it has controller support.
Okay.
But it's one of those, right? You have your squads, and they run around and they, turn-based style, can do various things. You shoot the bad guys, and when you complete your mission, you go back to your ship, wherein you can level up your dudes and gain new skills and upgrade your ship and all sorts of things, right?
Yeah. The cool thing about 40K is that the story almost never matters.
I've actually kind of enjoyed the story of this
That's the thing. That's the thing about 40K. It's always like just good enough to be enjoyable, but the story can be ridiculous because it's so like widely spanning.
The tutorial mission has you fighting a bloodthirster, which is pretty sweet.
Nice. Michael, a bloodthirster is like a King Kong,
a gigantic hooved demon with horns and a giant axe. And he's
much larger than you, even though you're a 10-foot tall superhuman.
Yes. And it's one of those where you kill the commander kills the bloodthirster, but the bloodthirster kills him, and that's how you get promoted to be the commander.
Okay.
You generally speaking in 40K, the commanders have special weapons that the troops don't have.
You are an XCOM style commander, so you're not actually yourself on the battlefield.
Right.
Anyway, even on the battlefield, one of your units will usually have something that the others don't to distinguish them with rank.
All of the units have they call them classes, but they're members of the Grey Knights, but also they are specialized. This one specializes a Purgator, and he sort of specializes in certain kinds of ranged weaponry.
Grey Knight units all have special weapons.
This one is a Justicar, and he's more specialized in protecting his brothers and also certain melee weapons. This one is a Apothecary, and he's more specialized. He has some healing abilities, but also some abilities related to more psychic powers. And I think there's an Interceptor who has a lot of abilities about teleporting around the battlefield and doing extremely cool looking stuff, but then tends to end up right in the thick of the enemies and get chopped up real good. That's been my experience with the Interceptors so far. Extremely cool. Die very quickly sometimes. It's been super fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It's hard, like XCOM is, where you can you can sort of see the death spiral coming, where oh no, okay, I failed a mission here. All right, it's fine. My guys will recover in 30 days, but the next set of missions come in 15 days, and you have to take the B team. And the B team is fine too, but then now they're wounded, and now the next set of missions you're not recovered yet, and you can sort of see that just progressively gets worse and worse for you, right?
Yeah.
So I had to restart my campaign already once because I was in that death spiral where I had no resources to repair my ship. I had no resources to my guys were all injured. I had no ways I was going to lose more worlds because I wasn't able to get to the missions on them because my ship was broken and all this stuff, right? And it was just going to spiral out of my control. And so I restarted the campaign on day 150 or something like that, and then was able to get back to that within 3 or 4 hours because the first several missions are all very scripted and had very similar enemies. And then once I got back to where I was again, it was okay, now I'm in such a better place. It was much clearer that I was going to do well. And things went forward much better. Also, man, just like in XCOM, some of those skills extremely broken. And I hadn't figured out which ones were broken before. I did this time. and
Yeah.
I'm gonna find and exploit them to the best of my capability.
Do you know what version of this or what era this is all taking place in, roughly? Is it connected to anything, or is it just sort of happening?
Kaidor Drogo shows up. Drygo.
Okay.
He's the supreme chapter master of the Grey Knights.
Okay.
It was noted by the current Grand Master that was extraordinary and caused the Grand Master to not take the ship back away from the Inquisitor who had commandeered it.
All right. He's not the one that I'm trying to remember if that's the one that was in the original story when they released them. I'm not going to remember while we do this podcast. This is exciting to me.
Yeah.
I'm glad that these games keep coming because I have no time.
And it's good. Like, the important thing is, like, it's good and fun. And look, man, it is, like, kind of super fascist, but also it's, like, pretty fun to go around. Like, most of the opponents that I've fought are Nurgle based, and like you chop off their limbs and they're like kind of cool with it. Sometimes, it's like, oh, I chopped off his arm that had the gun in it, so he can't shoot me anymore. Well, his other arm is a giant tentacle, so was this good or bad? I'm not clear if this was like a benefit to me necessarily.
I think that because it is so hyper focused on its lore, including how ridiculously I guess the best word is fascist the Inquisitors and other stuff like that are, and how everyone is just a cog in a giant meat grinding machine in this universe, I think it becomes scenery more than anything else.
Oh yeah, and it's a lot of like, every so many days you report your progress to the Grand Master, and he basically like evaluates what you've been doing and is like, all right, I'm going to take away you're not doing good enough. I'm going to take your resources away, or you're doing well. Here's extra resources. Or, I see you haven't been going for enough of the bonus objectives during missions. I'm going to force you to do one or else. Like these kinds of things, right? And it's like, and, so then you get to the mission, and instead of just like complete the necessary objective, the bonus objective is like, and all that fancy armor that you use usually, what if you didn't get to use it?
Oh no.
Or like, you do love all those bonuses you upgraded into your master crafted weapon. None of those today. Or you must get this many kills with only ranged weapons, so no melee. Or the other version, fine. Right, where it's only melee kills and no ranged weapons.
Sure.
And they have a whole bunch of weird ones. It's like, oh, you can't use any psychic abilities in this one, or you can't do anything like, all these sorts of like bonus restrictions on your otherwise standard mission.
Gotcha. Michael,
it's been really fun.
Michael, is your game as punishing as that?
No, not even close. So going to see Top Gun was not the only nostalgia moment in my weekend. I got a notice from GOG.
Good old games.
Thursday, that a game on my wish list had gone on sale for $1.97.
Oh, well, that's free.
Yeah, so that is definitely like by this now range. I took it way back to 1995 with this one, by a little publisher named Sierra Online.
Oh.
I replayed through Torin's Passage.
Oh my.
Yep. Great 90s point and click adventure.
Did they update it at all?
Nope. It was still the same original game.
That's got to be like 480. There's no... How does it look? How does it look? How did you even play it?
It doesn't look as bad as I was afraid that it might. The quality of it basically looks just like I remember it.
Okay.
And
Without a
maybe
CRT?
maybe because in my head it is at that low resolution. Like when it was still that low resolution on a much higher performing computer, it looked exactly like what I was expecting it to look like.
I don't remember the game very well. I just remember it being very, very point and click.
Yes, it is definitely very point and click.
And there was a weird
and like it's
purple dog.
yeah, you your pet is a weird sort of morphing purple cat dog thing.
Yeah. Did you
But it was,
finish it? Because it can't be more than 2
Yeah,
hours long.
it was 3 hours.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever played this game.
This is one of those ones that I played at my cousin's house, I'm sure. Because I didn't have a lot of PC games as a kid. I had a few, but not a lot. I remember the bargaining to get Shadows of the Empire on the PC. Because I didn't have N64 at the time.
Right.
I ended up with an N64 and then was like, dang it, I wish I had Shadows of the Empire on my 64.
But this one was good. It was exactly the right tinge of nostalgia that I hoped it would be in replaying it. And it's one of those games where it's very clearly made for children, but there are a whole lot of it winks at the camera a whole lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. And so as a kid, there are a bunch of jokes that would just go over your head and you wouldn't notice them. Because they're not the lines or whatever aren't played up to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, you definitely get the humor of what they're riffing on.
That's cool.
I'm looking at some pictures of this game. Man, it's like still kind of pretty, despite being, old pixel art.
Horribly low resolution.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's considered to be one of Sierra Online's better offerings. So at the time, it was great.
I think this is I'm going to table this discussion for next time, but this nostalgia trip I have to talk to you guys about emulation at some point. And not for this game, this specifically, especially when they're available on GOG, but other stuff. I'm having a real crisis of too many consoles over here. That's cool. All right. Well, man, geez, that doesn't tie in at all to F1. I was hoping to work on that one.
Azerbaijan.
I was sitting here working on that one a little too much. We have 5 minutes for Azerbaijan there, JJ.
Ferrari engines go boom again.
Haas engine go boom again.
Guess who makes Haas's engine?
No. I forgot.
Ferrari, baby.
I forgot.
Alfa Romeo too.
Yeah. Red Bull looking smarter every day, getting their own engine going.
Until theirs is the one that breaks next race, right? But
I don't know.
Also,
the consistency is on their side now.
Yeah. It's been a bad streak of, especially because you see like Leclerc and Sainz are up at the front. Like if it wasn't for these reliability problems, these races would go so differently, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be talking about Mercedes getting third and fourth. Yeah,
totally.
We wouldn't be having the discussion like, is Hamilton back? It'd be more like, where he was a full minute behind, but it looks good on the chart.
Is Mercedes going to get second place in the constructors because Ferrari can't finish races?
Michael,
that's happening.
Michael, you see somebody in fourth place, and then you see that they were a minute behind, which is if not almost a full lap.
Yeah.
That's that's fourth. Wow. Okay. It really sucks. I want Magnussen to stay in the sport, and I feel like this car keeps blowing up on him every time he's about to get points.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It was really tough. I think they were in bad, Haas in particular didn't have very good strategy. Also, by the way, Alpine had a bunch of terrible strategy calls this race too. Like they were doing well, and they lost a bunch of places due to how they decided to run it.
Gunter Steiner may not make it, my man. That guy might get fired.
He's been in the sport for quite a few years at this point. I'd be surprised if this is the thing that gets him fired.
I mean, how many years has he been with Haas and they haven't done anything?
I mean, I think he's been with it
since they started.
Since they were called Haas, yeah. So I'd be pretty surprised.
That's true. He did bring in a lot of sponsorship, so I don't know.
And you know, before you start worrying about Mick Schumacher, I think because of who Mick Schumacher is, he could probably continue his career for like 5 more years, never scoring a point, and continue to have a seat.
Like I said, I'm worried about Magnus. Magnus.
Yeah. Unlike that Latifi guy. Get that Latifi guy out of the sport. What the heck is going on, man?
You gotta finish the race. That's the number one problem.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, but you know, that street circuit is cool. Qualifying was exciting.
I feel like watching Perez get passed and then them saying no fighting was gonna be a big deal. Everyone was going to talk about it, and then Verstappen finished the race like 30 seconds ahead of him, and it just became a non-deal.
At some point, you realize, like, look, man, the other guy is actually faster than you. Like, you beat him in that qualifying lap, but he was faster than you on the race day.
Consistently
right?
Faster, yeah.
Yeah,
and you beat him on the other circuit where no one could pass you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I think he's a great number 2, and I'm glad they re-signed him, because if Red Bull's interested in doing the whole constructors again, they need that guy that doesn't crash the cars. Or man, what's up with Ricardo? I know we're almost at 5 minutes here, but
Dude, I don't know, man.
He was up in like 5th place.
Because again, that's one of those where like he stayed out for a super long time and they didn't pit him, hoping to get a safety car or something, and then it didn't happen. And so then when they did pit, he dropped a bunch of places, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fun thing about watching F1 races is like, it looks like things are crazy, but then you like, if you're taking into account who has pitted and who hasn't, and like, you know, the state of things, it's actually a lot more boring. The problems happen when accidents or unexpected things happen during those windows, while some people have done a thing for strategy and others haven't, right?
Well, or people like Hamilton get in the back and then they have a zillion people to pass and they do it, unlike everybody else.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Magnussen passed several people in this race, right? He was doing well, it seemed. Yep. So, you know, it's just this is the first year with these regulations, and I know these engines are basically the same as last year.
Oh, Michael. Yeah. Have you ever thought, I own this football team and I know there's a salary cap, but what would be the penalty if I just cheated a little bit and hired, like, if we won the Super Bowl and nobody knew that I was $1 million over the salary cap until after, what would be the penalty?
Just a little light treason.
So
treason assumes that there's codified rules about the salary cap, which F1 does not really have.
Michael, what if there was just a quote unquote penalty in the rule book without telling you what it is? So the Red Bull this past week said, so we're coming up against that spending cap that we have, and I know some other teams are probably going to be there soon. So what are we talking about in terms of penalties here?
Well, like, I think other teams have more concrete and known penalties to worry about, like replacing engine components, which are going to get them 5 to 10 to pit lane starts potentially. Dude,
pit lane starting for Fernando Alonso. Oh my God. How bad a team are you?
I have heard that Alpine has been having tons of issues with their exhausts, I guess, and they've gone through several parts, just like Ferrari has been going through engines. But it's just less showy because the exhaust doesn't explode and cause a bunch of fire to come out of the back of the car.
I'm glad.
I think by the end of this season, it's going to be a hilarious cascade of every team replacing parts. And so everyone kind of ends up back where they were. If everyone moves back 5 spaces, you know, like kind of evens out again.
I'm glad to have come into a sport at this time when they are doing some deep thinking about how to change their sport for the future. I mean, they're even talking about salary caps and all that kind of stuff. We don't have time to get into, but like, it makes the thing interesting in this kind of way where it's just like chaos behind the scenes. I just can't imagine the NFL being like, and now the uprights are half the distance. We're taking 10 yards off the field. Every running back has to wear, like, they changed 5 or 6 or 10 things a season, and then, like, every game you're talking about, like, well, there were 5 penalties that game, so actually we're going to take 3 points off of your team's score. Like, that kind of stuff would be nuts.
I mean, like, the funny thing is that in previous years there have been issues with the penalties, like drivers accruing penalties for doing things wrong, and like people would miss races because they've been penalized too much. Now that didn't happen like more recently. But, some people have been getting penalties for like doing things that the stewards said they shouldn't do. And in a season with more races than ever, when you get to race like 24 or whatever, if you got like 6 penalties in the year, that's enough to get you a race, not a ban, or maybe like, mini place penalties, or, potentially miss a whole race. And then you have your reserve driver in, and God knows if that guy even knows how to drive the car.
Usually the reserve driver is a practice driver, so they're running the year before his car on some sort of practice track somewhere.
Yes. But as we've seen, these cars, like the year before's car, doesn't handle anything like this year's car.
Good point. Good luck.
Yes, exactly.
All right. There's a zillion things we talked about this episode. Eiyuden, Chaos Gate, Torin's Path. Dude, if you played Torin's Passage, Michael wants to hear from you.
I do.
You
should email us at WeWereGamers.
Oh, yes. Email us at the WeWereGamers.
Yes. Podcast at WeWereGamers.
You could do
that.
Twitter,
would be the one.
Which is for the
you could find us on. Yep, we're all getting older. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on all those places. WeWereGamers. You should check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe some of our videos there. A bunch of good curated content. Star Wars, Star Trek, component class.
Oh, there's a carbon scoring coming at some point, and there's also a substrate transmission coming at some point. They're good, tough. I gotta edit them for real, like not just a little bit, just to really make clear what we're talking about in some of these. They're not a mess, but maybe those shows are a mess.
Compared with some of the shows we're watching now, they certainly are.
Stranger Things is so good. We don't have time for that today, but Stranger Things is so good. All right, we're out.